Now, on to another big story today, folks. Brett Kavanaugh is facing lots of heat when it comes to a woman who says that he sexually assaulted her when they were in high school. Dr. Blasely Ford, because she's accusing him of sexual assault. And both of them are set to testify on Monday before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It will be carried live. The Democratic leaders are requesting more time for the FBI to investigate the allegations, but Republicans want this over as quick as possible because they desperately want to confirm him for the U.S. Supreme Court so he can be able to begin to hear cases in October. They also, of course, want him on the court as fast as possible because they want this done just in case they lose control of the U.S. Senate in November. And so the question is, what can we expect to take place? Joining us right now is Barbara Arnwine. She's the executive director of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Barbara, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So what's interesting here is that she sends this letter this summer to Senator Dianne Feinstein. They held on to it, and then they revealed it after the confirmation hearing. One, do you believe that was wise? Because now they're being criticized as saying, well, you're throwing a Hail Mary, trying to keep him off the court. If you have this letter, why not release it earlier?
Well, I think there were so many issues they had to deal with at first, like all these documents that are still missing. And I don't blame them for wanting to focus first on the process, the procedures, all the things that were wrong about ramming this nomination through. So I kind of get it. Also, I understand how perilous it is for women to come forward and to be heard in these circumstances. And I can see why people wouldn't want to use that unless they had to.
Well, she remained anonymous, but it wasn't until she went to the Washington Post and then revealed her identity.
After it broke that Senator Feinstein had already released a letter, had made it public that there was a letter. But I do think it's critical to the future of this country that she is heard. I mean, we blew it years ago when the Anita Hill hearings were held. It's time, as Maxie Hirano said today, thank you, Senator Hirano, she said it's time men to shut up and step up and, and give this woman her time. I really believe that this situation is serious. I think that we're going to find that this is not a made-up charge. She's not, quote, hysterical and forgetting who raped her, tried to rape her. Women remember these things, never forget. So I think it's going to be, quite the hearing on Monday.
Now, both of them will be testifying,
yes.
And they're not allowing any other witnesses, anybody else to corroborate
Big mistake.
This.
They did the same mistake with Anita Hill. Remember, there was a witness who wanted to testify about Clarence Thomas's behavior. They would not allow her to testify. That was a big mistake, and Joe Biden has even apologized for his role in squashing that witness. So I think that's a mistake. I think Mark Judd, who was there, tried to participate in this rape, that he ought to be subpoenaed. I think the FBI should investigate thoroughly before there is the hearing on Monday. I think that if they have the hearing on Monday, they're going to have another one after the FBI does a thorough investigation. These are really serious charges.
And what do you say to the folks who say that, look, this was high school. You have this organization that's also supporting his nomination. A spokeswoman was on television earlier today saying this could have simply been horseplay.
Listen, rape is never horseplay. People come up with every excuse they can.
Well, in this case, she's alleging it was attempted rape.
It was attempted rape. But he was doing everything he could to rape her. It was only because he was so drunk and his friend Mark Judd was just as drunk that they couldn't pull it off. But they were serious. I mean, remember, they take her into a room, shut the door, put his hands over her mouth, turn the music up so that she cannot be heard. This was not some little horseplay.
But this is the issue that we're dealing with. The issue we're dealing with is there are notes from a therapist where there was no mention of this in those particular notes. It comes down to what evidence do you have?
Well, actually,
what can you actually prove? I mean, you're going to have two people testifying, her account, his account. What do you have to prove that it actually happened, or didn't happen? And what are we now left with?
Well,
Two folks testifying?
Well, we have two things. When she was in the couples therapy in 2012, she talked about this. It came up then. She had no reason in 2012 to talk about this. She also has, told her family, told her husband. So it's not as if this was something that all of a sudden she just had some kind of recovered recollection at the last second. This woman has been trying to deal with the injury, the harm, and the damage done to her by his actions. I think that no matter what people think, if you think you can somehow squash this the way women think now, after Me Too, after this president and 19 allegations against him and nothing's been done about it, I think that it's a political calculation of suicide for the GOP to believe that they can somehow just say, oh, it's about a youthful indiscretion. Women don't want to hear that.
Well, one of the issues you have 13 Republicans, you don't have any women on that committee.
Right.
So the question then becomes, will Susan Collins, will Lisa Murkowski, will Marsha Blackburn, will any other of these folks who are senators, will they actually believe her over him and vote against him?
Will they stand up finally for women? I mean, you cannot keep saying I am for women and vote against everything that would help women. They need to really show us who they are, because women are getting to the point now where we just won't vote for someone just because she's a woman. We want her politics to reflect those that are in the best interest of all women.
All right, then. Barbara Arnwine, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much.